Tonight, Speaker Alban Babing returns to Parliament to chastise MPs and issues an unqualified apology to Ghanaians for what he calls the unruly behavior of MPs over the 2022 budget.
We expect the Speaker, in my opinion, to reverse all.
As the head of Parliament, the voice of the legislature, who speaks for and on behalf of Parliament, hence the title Speaker, I, with all humility, apologize on behalf of the House and all the members for the aberrations of conduct and behavior of members on those days.
In the last few minutes, in fact, it's still ongoing now. The Speaker has been reading out his ruling on the question of quorum as NDC MPs demand he reverses all decisions taken by the first Deputy Speaker while he was away.
We expect the Speaker, in my opinion, to reverse all the nonsense that happened. And I described it without any apology. Yesterday,
you expect him to reverse?
We expect him to do so.
It's good.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. Together we can. And indeed, I want to take you live to Parliament right now, where after almost 2 weeks of absence, Alban Babing, the Speaker of Parliament, is back and has been chastising the members of Parliament while he was away. The budget that he superintended its rejection was reversed. That decision that he was in the chair when it was taken was reversed. It was Joe Sowusu, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, who was in the chair when that decision to reject the budget was overturned. The question of quorum emerged. In fact, the first thing Alban Babing has done in the last few minutes is delivering a ruling on these matters. In the wake of, in the context today of members of the NDC side in the House putting pressure on him to reverse all the decisions taken by the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament. In fact, I want to take you live to Parliament, where Alban Babing is still delivering his ruling on these matters.
The bar on the one presided in Parliament in respect of participating in debates or voting on any matter. Article 102 of the Constitution is to the effect that the person presiding, be it the Speaker, a Deputy Speaker, or a member presiding, does not form part of the quorate number. Honorable members, whether or not the principle applies in pari materia with Article 104 is immaterial, because a different issue and law arises which respectfully the Honorable First Deputy Speaker may not have averted his mind to. A distinction must be drawn between the temporary absence of the Speaker from the chamber, in which case any of the Deputy Speakers may preside, and when the Speaker is unavoidably absent, as provided for under Order 13.2. In fact, Order 13.2 creates two different types of instances under which the Deputy Speaker may preside in accordance with Article 101 of the Constitution. Under Article 13.1, under Order 13.1, any of the Deputy Speakers may be asked to take the chair when our Mr. Speaker so requests, due to his temporary absence from the chair. The Deputy Speaker presides until such a time that Mr. Speaker is able to resume the chair to preside over the proceedings. It might be noted that under this ambit, the Deputy Speaker may be counted as forming part of the quorum number required for either business or voting, because at the beginning of the sitting, he was not exercising the powers of the Speaker. He is a member of Parliament. Honourable members, Order 13.1 is what I just referred to. At that time, the Honourable Deputy Speaker is just not called upon to preside due to the unavoidable absence of the Speaker. So that time, like I'm presiding, I decide for some good reason to leave the chair, and I call on the first or second Deputy Speaker to preside. That one is optional. I can call the first, I can call the second. But when you go to 13.2, it's a different scenario. And I read it. Whenever the House is informed by the clerk at the table of the unavoidable absence of Mr. Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker shall perform the duties and exercise the authority of Mr. Speaker in relation to all proceedings of the House until Mr. Speaker resumes the chair without any further communication to the House. Under this order, honorable members, listen. Honorable member, I don't want to name you. Under this order, the Speaker's unavoidable absence from the presence of Parliament means the first Deputy Speaker assumes the authority of the Speaker and performs all the duties of the Speaker in relation to the chamber. In this role, the first Deputy Speaker takes on the cloak of an acting Speaker, and for the purposes of our rules and the Constitution, assumes all the powers of the Speaker in relation to the business of the House. In this sense, therefore, the first Deputy Speaker for the period of my unavoidable absence from Parliament was the acting Speaker of Parliament, and thus all rules and limitations apply to him in a manner that applies to the substantive Speaker of Parliament. By and large, the reasoning of the first Deputy Speaker outlining the fact that he is not the Speaker, he holds his membership and thus not lose his privileges as a member when he takes the chair can be said to be correct. However, insofar as he takes on the role as the acting Speaker of Parliament, his decision to be counted as part of the numbers forming a quorum raises procedural challenges. Honorable members, although our standing orders are silent on this, many standing orders and rules from several sister parliaments provide persuasive rules which suggest that when deputy speakers or acting speakers or members are in the chair, whatever happens in the House is that officer's responsibility, and the Speaker cannot be called upon to overrule it. So if that forms the responsibility of the Deputy Speaker or Acting Speaker, and the substantive Speaker cannot overrule it, then how come the Deputy Speaker can lead the House to rescind or change a decision that was taken in the presence of the Speaker? What I am simply drawing your attention to is that similarly, the reverse is also the case when a Speaker is in the chair. Whatever happens in the House is the Speaker's responsibility, and the Deputy Speaker or Acting Speaker cannot be called upon to overrule it. However, honorable members, we are where we are today because we need to make progress on this matter in a manner that is consistent with our laws and ensures we are allowing the governance of our country to thrive. And so this is for the record and is for the House and future parliaments to deliberate on, to guide the country to be able to come clear on these issues to prevent the ambiguities. Now, I'll move on to a very important area before I go to propose the way forward. A letter presented by the Minister of Finance on concessions and modifications to the 2022 budget statement. Honorable members, I'm aware of a letter of that nature originating from the Minister, which letter purports to make some concessions and modifications to the 2022 budget statement and economic policy of government. The legal basis of the laying of such a letter and what actions Parliament may take as a result leaves a lot to be desired. I have held discussions with the Minister himself, with the leadership of the House, to try to find a path that is faithful to law, respects our rules and processes, and ensures the governance of the country does not grind to a halt. In that vein, I made a few proposals to both the Minister and the leadership. I must say, I can only tell the proposals, but at the end of the day, there are still disagreements. My first proposal is for the Minister responsible for finance to come before the House with whether it's modified, revised, amended, or reenacted statement of the budget, with those modifications, concessions, amendments specifically captured in the document and known and accepted by the House. Those modifications, amendments, and concessions would then be adopted by the House, and the revised documents with the estimates will stand committed to the various committees of Parliament. I'm aware the committees have begun consideration of the estimates. My proposal is for that to be adopted, but for the committees to reconcile the revised estimates with what they have hitherto considered and submit a report for the consideration. The letter, for example, conveys the intention of government to allocate 10 million Ghana cedis for the engineering studies for the commencement of the Blekusu Sea Defense Project. That 10 million will definitely be taken from another item that has been captured in what was presented, rejected, or reinstalled, or reinstated, or approved. Again, I'm aware that other areas, including the acceptance to capture properly the resolution of Parliament with regard to the Aker Energy proposal. But that is an indication of intent. That is what is conveyed in the letter. That is different from what will be captured in the document called revised or modified or amended budget. Honorable members, as I had stated earlier on, no consensus on this matter. The last one is the issue of the e-levy. As of today, there is no, but I'm told that before us is an audit paper addendum, where there is an item under presentation and first reading of bills through 2B, an item electronic transfer levy bill 2021. I've been persuaded that it is during the consideration of that bill that members will take decisions as to whether to approve the policy or principles of the bill and add to the details whether it's 1.75%, 1%, or 0.5%, or zero. This meant that the House is deciding to go beyond and engage civil society and the stakeholders in the industry as to the right decision in this matter. Definitely, the letter of the minister also acknowledges and captures this, because the minister stated clearly that they are in consultation with the minority caucus and other stakeholders in the industry. So exactly what I said the House is accepting to proceed along that line. The Speaker doesn't participate in debates. It's my duty to guide you. You debate and take the decisions. And so, I will definitely, honorable member, we are in a very decent institution. I want to conclude on this note. If I wanted to be Chief Justice, I would have joined the judiciary. Honorable members, to conclude on these matters, let me reiterate my solemn pledge to the people of Ghana, which I canvassed in my first formal communication to this House. I will not, and I mean what I say, I will not superintend over a parliament to frustrate or obstruct government business. But I will equally not preside over a weak house or be tagged as an errand boy of the executive arm of government. This House is fully focused in discharging its mandate and will do so without any fear or favor, affection or ill will in ensuring the ultimate best interest of the Ghanaian people is served. Let us continue, honorable members, to strengthen our channels of communication. We usually refer to them as the usual channels of communication. Foster dialogue. Encourage broader stakeholder consultation and allow the processes we have adopted for our burgeoning democracy to thrive. This is the concept on which the Parliament of the Fourth Republic has been captured by our laws. Consultation, compromises, working together. And that is why it's different from the British system, which is confrontational between government and opposition. And we moved away from using the terms government and opposition to majority and minority caucuses. You are here on the left today, tomorrow you'll be on the right, and vice versa. We must learn to work together for the interests of our people. With this, I thank you all for your attention. Give me some water.
And you're live here on Joy 99.7 FM. That is Alban Babing, Speaker of Parliament. This is his first sitting since he returned from that medical leave in Dubai. A number of things he just did there. Whilst he was away, a few things happened. He supervised the rejection of the 2022 budget. Shortly thereafter, he left for Dubai. Days later, his first deputy speaker, who was then in his chair, also supervised the superintendent over a rejection of that particular decision. And then the budget that was rejected with Abambagbe in the chair was then approved. He's referred to that. And he decided to do a few things today, which is do a series of rulings. First, he dealt with the issue of quorum, which was a major subject raised by the NDC side, that the quorum a question was raised when he was there, and then it came up again when his first deputy speaker was in the chair, that they didn't have the numbers to take the decision they did on the day the budget was approved. He dealt with that extensively, raising the issues and concluding that the first deputy speaker could not have counted himself to form the quorum. As far as he's concerned, he was emphatic on that in backing his position with the constitutional provision. He says that that decision by the first speaker to count himself in forming the quorum for the decision to approve the budget was, quote, poses procedural challenges. Procedural challenges. That was his position on the matter. And then he says, though, remember in Joso Wusu's decision, when the matter was put before him, challenging the fact that he cannot count himself, he said he's not a speaker. Well, and that he was simply not the substantive speaker. He agrees with Joso Wusu that he was correct when he made that point. Now, as you've heard today, all day, members of the NDC side in the House have been putting pressure on Alban Bagbe now that he's returned to overturn the decisions that were taken when Joso Wusu was in the chair. He says he cannot do that. That it is the responsibility of the speaker whilst he's acting, because once he's acting, he assumes the powers of the speaker, and it is his decision. And that it is not up to the other speaker when he returns to overturn that decision. His words were, it is his responsibility, and that the speaker cannot be called to overrule the decision that the other speaker had done whilst he was acting. So he wouldn't do so. But he was clear that that particular decision of his also applies to his decision. In other words, the decision that he superintended in rejecting the budget, he believes could not also have been overturned by Joso Wusu when he sat in the chair. But he left it there. He says these things that he's just articulated and pronounced on, he did it just for the record. And it is for Parliament to discuss and find a way forward in the future. So he said his bit. And then he goes on to tell us about the modifications to the budget when he was away that the finance minister presented. He says he's spoken to the finance minister because he believes procedure is important, and he believes the finance minister in laying those amendments and modifications did not follow the procedure. And so he was emphatic that in the discussions with the finance minister and the leadership, made several proposals on how to rectify the procedural issues. One, that the Minister for Finance should come before the House again with the modifications specifically captured so the House can then debate and accept it. Now, the second, that these modifications will then be adopted by the House. The committees have already been doing a lot of discussions on some of the issues in the budget already. He says the committees would then have to reconcile what they've already done with what the House will now adopt, and then bring it back to the House for the entire House to debate the issues. He also confirmed tonight that the e-levy bill has formally been laid. We have a copy of that, and we're going to be bringing you details of that shortly. He says that that has been laid, and that he's been persuaded that that bill now laid will go to the committee level, and it is at the committee level that discussions will be held on whether to reduce the 1.75 percentage points that the bill is imposing on Ghanaians. There's a lot to digest on the order we've had from Alban Babing on his return from the medical attention in Dubai, and we're going to be going back to Parliament live now, because Parliament, we understand, is going to sit into later. We're going to bring in live coverage, but also going to bring you the details of the e-levy bill that is before Parliament. Some fascinating details in there that you need to know of, all on Newsnight, which starts right now.